Number 1. In this question, you will be asked to give your opinion about a familiar topic. After you hear the question, you will have 15 seconds to prepare your response and 45 seconds to speak. Some students would prefer to live with roommates. Others would prefer to live alone. Which option would you prefer, and why?
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
I think both options have disadvantage and advantage. If you live with a roommate, you can save money because you pay less for the bills and the rent. But if you live alone, you have your privacy, your own space. In my case, I think it's better live alone because you have your space. You can use anything whenever. You can invite some people whenever. You can do noise whenever, and you won't have problems with your roommate because sometimes it's difficult have the same likes.
Number 2.
Cuando el sol sale por el este, la noche cae por el oeste. Mantente alerta.
In this question, you will read a short passage about a campus situation and then listen to a talk on the same topic. You will then answer a question using information from both the reading passage and the talk. After the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Read the article from the university newspaper about the plan to build new student housing. You will have 50 seconds to read the article. Begin reading now. Now listen to two students discussing the article.
I can't believe these plans. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Really? Seemed okay to me, especially the argument about the cars.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, it doesn't matter where students live because they still have to get to class somehow, right? At least if they built new dorms on campus, students would use campus transportation
Instead of their cars. I see what you're getting at. If they live off campus, they're still going to have to drive and park on campus. Might even create more traffic.
Exactly.
Okay. Still, though, the point about students interacting more with people in the community, that doesn't seem to be a bad thing, does it?
But the more time spent off campus in town, the less time spent on campus. What about all the clubs, shows, discussions, all the campus happenings that just kind of happen? It's important to be on campus to really take advantage of these things. Having a different living experience shouldn't be given up at the expense of not being as much a part of the university community.
The woman expresses her opinion of the university's plan. State her opinion and explain the reason she gives for holding that opinion.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
Direction one to build campus of the university with the argument that they going to give better use of the space used for parking cars. And they say too that students get better experience living with the local community. But the girl said that she was disagree with this because she said that independent of where the students live, they have to park their cars in the space close to the university because they have to go to the university to take class wherever. And about the experience of life of community, she said that is not good idea because when you spend more time in the local community, you less time spend in the university and you lose space like events, discussion, something like that.
Number 3. In this question, you will read a short passage on an academic subject and then listen to a talk on the same topic. You will then answer a question using information from both the reading passage and the talk. After the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Now read the passage about a topic in psychology. You will have 45 seconds to read the passage. Begin.
Este es un libro de gramática en inglés. Si quieres aprender inglés,
In reading now. Now listen to part of a lecture in a psychology class.
So we encounter this in life all the time, but many of us are unaware that we do this, even psychologists who study it, like me. For example, the other day I was at the store and I was getting in line to buy something. But just before I was actually in line, some guy comes out of nowhere and cuts right in front of me. Well, I was really annoyed and thought, that was rude. I assumed he was just a selfish, inconsiderate person, when in fact I had no idea why he cut in line in front of me, or whether he even realized he was doing it. Maybe he didn't think I was actually in line yet. But my immediate reaction was to assume he was a selfish or rude person. Okay, so a few days after that, I was at the store again, only this time I was in a real hurry. I was late for an important meeting, and I was frustrated that everything was taking so long. And what's worse, all the checkout lines were long, and it seemed like everyone was moving so slowly. But then I saw a slightly shorter line. But some woman with a lot of stuff to buy was walking toward it, so I basically ran to get there first before her. And, well, I did. Now, I didn't think of myself as a bad or rude person for doing this. I had an important meeting to get to. I was in a hurry, so, I had done nothing wrong.
Explain how the two examples discussed by the professor illustrate differences in the ways people explain behavior.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
We evaluate the behavior of other people in different ways than we evaluate our own behavior. That means when we judge the behavior of other people, we think that this is for their personality or their character. And when we evaluate our own behavior, we say that is for the situation. The professor gave us an example when he was in a supermarket. He want to get in a line, and some guy appear and go in front of him, and he get annoyed for this situation, and he think that he is a selfish person. But in other occasion, the professor do the same thing, and he argued that that was done because he was hurry and he was an important meeting.
Number 4. In this question, you will listen to a short lecture. You will then be asked to summarize important information from the lecture. After you hear the question, you will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Now listen to part of a lecture in a child development class.
Okay, young children and art. Research suggests that learning art skills can benefit a young child's development. Two of the ways it can do this is by providing a platform to express complex emotions and by encouraging persistence. Now, what do I mean when I say a platform to express complex emotions? Young children have limited vocabulary. So how would they communicate the feeling of pride, for example? A drawing, though, making a drawing of feeling proud, this is something a young child could do. So a little girl might draw herself jumping up in the air next to her bike. In the drawing, her arms are raised up in the air and she's smiling. Children can communicate their emotions, whether positive or negative, through the drawing better than they could with words. And encouraging persistence? Well, art skills can help children to develop patience and concentration to persist in an activity, the willingness to keep trying to reach a goal. So, suppose there's a little boy who wants to mold a lump of clay into the shape of a car. The first attempt doesn't look too much like a car. He's disappointed, but wants to try again. The second, third, fourth try still don't look quite right, but there's improvement with every attempt. So after some time, he gets to the point where he's satisfied with his creation. The newly shaped clay car is an instant reminder of an accomplishment, a success resulting from his persistence. And the boy may be able to transfer this lesson toward other situations and activities because, well, he's had the experience of successfully accomplishing a goal through hard work.
Using points and examples from the talk, explain how learning art can impact a child's development.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
It's important the art for the child development because there are two main characteristics of doing art when you are a child. The first one is that you can express complex emotion, and the second one is that the art gives you patience and concentration. In the first one, the professor said that childs have limited vocabulary and they can express their emotion through the drawing. For example, they can express sadness or happiness. And the second one, passion and concentration. There are skills that are given to the child when they develop different persistent tasks, and they learn that the success is after a persistent task.